You're watching 13 Wham ABC. And this is 13 Wham News at 6.
23 years doing this job. I mean, it was, I can only imagine if it was one of my children.
Tied up, terrorized, and beaten for 40 hours, and the question remains, why? 6 people under arrest for kidnapping 2 University of Rochester students. Police returned to the scene of that dramatic SWAT team rescue today. Jane Flash joining us live from the Public Safety Building to tell us why they went back there. Jane?
Well, Don, 5 of the 6 suspects have given statements to police, and that sent investigators back to the scene of that alleged crime, looking for new evidence to corroborate some of the horrific details outlined in these court papers. 3 days after the dramatic rescue, investigators returned to 22 Harvest Street, removing evidence mostly from the garage.
After we've done our investigations and interviews, we want to come back and make sure that we can corroborate information.
For 40 hours, Nicholas Callias and Ani Okiki Iwu were tied up in a bedroom. Police say they were repeatedly beaten with fists, clubs, and other objects. At the hands of 4 of the suspects, Lydell Strickland, another man, Dennis Perez, and 2 women, Lee Gigliotti and Samantha Hughes. One of them allegedly shot Callias in the legs with a .22 caliber rifle.
One of the theories that the defendants are charged with is that they were restrained for a period of more than 12 hours, and there was an intent to inflict serious physical injury.
Tied up, bleeding, and confined to that bedroom, police say 19-year-old Ruth Laura helped to feed the hostages. And that another suspect, Analia Roldan, who is also 19, was at times left alone to guard them. Meanwhile, at the University of Rochester, worried friends and fellow students reported the fellow football players missing.
Their information did not help us get to the house, really just establish a pattern of, victims' activities.
Court papers say the victims did not know where they were being held, yet a ping from their cell phone turned this from a missing persons investigation into a SWAT rescue operation. Police recovered the victim's car 2 blocks from the house. It's unclear whether the men were abducted before or after they got to that neighborhood. Yet part of the motive for all of this appears to be money. The victims forced to turn over cash, credit cards, and PIN numbers.
I'm not going to get into any specifics of the relationships, the motives, the background. Again, we're working very hard to protect the integrity of this investigation.
The grandmother and legal guardian of suspect Samantha Hughes left the court in tears. If convicted, Hughes and 3 of her alleged accomplices faced 25 years to life in prison. And we are learning more about one of those suspects, Lydell Strickland. He has served a previous conviction for criminal possession of a weapon. He went back to prison on a parole violation and was just released in April. Police reiterated that these victims were specifically targeted, but as of now, they will not release why. Reporting live downtown, Jane Flash, 13 Wham News.
All right, thank you, Jane. We have a breaking news alert out of Wayne County, where a car was pulled out of the Erie Canal. This is in Palmyra, where Alderman Road meets Route 31. You're looking at a live picture here now. Our news partner, the Times of Wayne County, telling us at least 1 person was safely pulled from that car in the canal. The car has now been taken out as well. We will continue to update this with information from the scene as it becomes available tonight. Authorities are now saying the death of a 17-month-old in Hornell over the Thanksgiving weekend is, in fact, a homicide. Today, 22-year-old Dakota Miller was charged with manslaughter. 13 Wham's Carla Clare was in court today and joins us now with why and how the child died. Carla?
Don Miller is also facing an assault charge in connection to the child's death. Authorities believe it's because of that assault the 1.5-year-old Ian Meninsky Huff died.
According to court papers, baby Ian lost his life as a result of a traumatic brain injury to the head and a slashed liver.
It is very horrific. There are cases you just never forget.
Dakota Miller pled not guilty to a manslaughter charge in Hornell City Court. Officials say the child suffered bruises from head to toe. He's also charged with assault for biting the child so hard he made him bleed.
He's already charged with the assault. I'm hoping that the manslaughter charge wasn't filed just to generate more adverse publicity and animosity towards my client.
Authorities say the mother was working when all of this happened, but her 3-year-old daughter was there when Miller allegedly beat the 1.5-year-old.
I've seen a couple of these kinds of cases. This may be the worst beating case I have seen, but we have seen child homicide cases with this kind of thing once or twice in 20-plus years.
Police say additional charges are pending, awaiting the final autopsy report.
The case now goes to a Steuben County grand jury. Police say additional charges are pending, awaiting that final autopsy report. In the newsroom, I'm Carlette Claire.
All right, Carlette. A SUNY Geneseo student arrested in a weekend assault is facing charges in another assault from last month. 20-year-old Perry Nisi is accused of assaulting another SUNY Geneseo student while that student was walking by the DK fraternity house on Franklin Street. That happened back on November 13th. Donald Trump facing criticism from around the world today following his call for a ban on all Muslims entering the U.S. It is echoed by local Islamic leaders who say Trump's rhetoric is dangerous.
America is the greatest success story of immigrants and immigration. And to hear somebody want to exclude people solely based on religion is shocking. It really is.
The Islamic Center recently postponed an interfaith rally because of safety concerns. Homeland Security will be the subject of a town hall event. It is called Your Voice, Your Future, the New Normal, Security versus Freedom. You can watch it on 13wham.com at 7 o'clock tomorrow night.
Well, you know, the winter season is officially less than 2 weeks away, but it's still feeling like the middle of October. Take a look at the HD Wham Cam. We got a nice night out there. Temperatures at 42 degrees. We got mostly cloudy skies. And look at the range of temperatures. Typically, this time of the night, the temperature's starting to drop into the 20s. Still 41 degrees in Hilton, 39 degrees down towards Bristol. Temperatures are not going to drop all that much through the overnight. Now, one small concern, if we get some clearing, we could find a little bit of patchy fog, especially south of Rochester later tonight. That could create a few icy spots on some of the bridges and the overpasses, but that's about it. In spite of that, we're talking about a little mini heat wave for Rochester as we head into the weekend. We're going to show you how long it's going to last. It's coming up.
All right, Glenn. Rochester Police want your help with an armed robbery. It happened Sunday, November 29th at the Goodman Super Deli. Police say the suspect entered the store armed with a gun, took off with cash. Call Crime Stoppers at 423-9300 if you have any information. The Monroe County Legislature is expected to vote tonight on a recommended pay raise for Monroe County Sheriff Patrick O'Flynn. The commission yesterday recommending that he receive a 9% hike. If you live in the Churchville Child High School District, you can vote until 9 tonight on a $23 million capital project. This would fund a new pool and improvements to athletic fields. A new report says 14,000 young people in Rochester have no access to after-school programs. The After School Alliance found that just 31% of young people in the city attend after-school programs, which are linked to increased success in schools. And they say there are several factors to blame.
It's primarily the number of programs, the cost of the programs, and then getting to and home from the program.
Now, while the Rochester Community Area Foundation does fund some of the programs, like this one at number 34 school, the Alliance says more government funding is needed in order to help these kids succeed. A new mural unveiled at the Edgerton Rec Center today. Sarah Rutherford is a local wall therapy artist. She has transformed many walls, buildings, and neighborhoods all around the city, showing off the latest work today. Young people on the staff gave her some ideas and actually helped her with the stenciling and painting. And there's more ahead on 13 WAM News at 6.
They're preemies, so they keep us extremely busy.
4 babies in 4 minutes. How quads born during Irondequoit a couple of months ago are doing today. Happy birthday to the Machard quads. They are 1 month old, growing on schedule. Patrice Walsh joining us now with an update on when they'll be going home and how the parents are preparing to care for 4 babies at once. Patrice?
You know, this was one of my favorite stories. Chris and Katie Mouchard say they're working on a system to feed all of the babies at once. And yes, they're trying to catch up on their sleep now before those babies go home. Here they are, 4 bundles of joy. Brian, Lily, Owen, and Mason Mouchard posing for pictures on their 1-month birthday.
Yesterday, I just hung out with them all day, sang them each happy birthday.
The quads are still being cared for in the NICU at Golisano Children's Hospital. They're on feeding tubes, but gaining weight and getting stronger.
They keep saying everyone's on track. They're preemie, so they keep us extremely busy.
The babies are also developing their own personalities. Brian is the largest at just over 5 pounds. He's the sleepy, chill one. Lily is the smallest, but she's the boss, according to her parents.
Without a doubt. She's always kind of in charge.
Owen is the funny one, always smiling. And Mason, he's the brains of the bunch.
Mason, he's going to be our smart kid, we think.
Yeah, he'll be the smart one.
Yeah.
The Mouchards say they have 4 of everything waiting at home, including a quad feeding table, and they'll have lots of help.
So we're just going to have to develop some assembly line feeding, but we don't know how it's going to happen.
Right now, they're trying to catch up on sleep while the babies are still in the hospital.
We leave here, we think we're exhausted, and we walk to the car, we're like, oh, I'm so tired, but then we realize this is nothing yet. When these kids come home, it's 3 in the morning, they're crying, all 4 of them. That's when we're going to be tired.
This is where the family will celebrate the holidays.
We're going to have Christmas right here in the NICU.
Such a good family, and they don't know what to expect right now. The plan is for the quads to go home in mid-January. That's when they were due, but of course it'll depend on how much they weigh and how they're gaining weight. But a nice couple. These are their first children, 4 at once, Don.
0 to 4. And only 1 month, they got them pretty well pegged as to who's going to be which one.
I love the fact that they have their own personalities and that they know their parents, they recognize them.
All right, hey, thank you. Nice report tonight. Well, still ahead here, how Wegmans is marking its 100th anniversary.
Well, when you look back through the record books and you look for the average date for the first inch of snow in Rochester, it's November 20th. That date is long gone, obviously. So we have not had our first inch of snowfall. And what's the latest it has ever been? You got to go back to 2012, December 22nd. So we're getting closer and closer to that. And the other interesting side is to take a look at how often we get a white Christmas in Rochester. That's defined as having 1 inch of snow on the ground for Christmas morning. And you can see some of the area towns, and Buffalo at about 62%, Rochester at 58% of the time we have a white Christmas. We'll see if it works out. Right now we have 42 degrees at the airport, no wind to speak of. It is a mild night in Rochester compared to what we normally get. And a lot of our weather spotters saying, hey, it was nice to see some of that sunshine today. Louis over at Pittsford, he's got a temperature his way of 41 degrees. Here's a look at your neighborhood forecast for tomorrow. We're going to find temperatures in the 30s initially for the morning, but I think we'll find lots of sunshine as we go through the afternoon. We think it's going to turn out to be another nice day, a little bit milder. Today we got into the low 40s. Tomorrow, I think we're going to be nudging 50 degrees through the afternoon. Now, take a look at the bigger picture, and it looks like an interesting weather system coming in from the west, but this just kind of fades away. It weakens significantly, and then we get our second surge of warm air. This is coming in through the Ohio Valley. So at least in the short term here, the next couple of days, we're going to find unseasonably warm weather. We're going to be well into the 50s going through Thursday and into Friday and even into the weekend. Take a look at the weather pattern as we see it. This is a look at the change in the jet stream, the overall wind pattern as we go into Saturday and Sunday. Yeah, when we see this kind of thing going through the month of December, we think we have the opportunity for record high temperatures, and that's going to be the case certainly by Sunday anyway. So through this evening, we'll call it partly cloudy skies, maybe mostly cloudy. One thing we're going to watch is going to be later tonight. Now, we could get a little bit of patchy fog in some of the valleys south of Rochester. Normally not an issue, but if we get down to the freezing mark, we could find a little bit of ice developing on some of the bridges and the overpasses in those deeper valleys. I don't think it's going to be a big problem. It's going to be after midnight. Tomorrow morning, we climb above freezing. Any fog is going to burn off pretty quickly. We think we're going to find lots of sun through the afternoon. The high temperature, again, within a few degrees of 50. Look at this. Calm, quiet weather Thursday into Friday. And there's some of that record warmth. We think if it doesn't happen on Saturday, should happen by Sunday. Temperatures are going to be in the low 60s, and then the winds are going to pick up Monday. We'll get back to seasonably cold weather going into Tuesday.
All right, we'll take it. Thank you, Glenn. Well, local small business leaders got together today to discuss ways to stay safer online. They met with members of the National Cybersecurity Alliance over at RIT to explore ways to improve security on social media sites as well as financial institution portals.
them. Every account that we open really exposes our personal information. So it's really important that we understand where we've shared our personal information, that we're actively involved in the information that's coming to that account, and that we're deleting and keeping a clean machine.
Experts say understand what your risks are and back up your system on a regular basis. Wegmans is celebrating its 100th anniversary with a new logo, and tomorrow the Wegmans Wonder Place exhibit opens at the Smithsonian National Museum of American History. The Wonder Place is an early childhood exhibit which will allow kids to pretend to run a farm stand and even cook in a kitchen inspired by Julia Child. Global markets continue to pull stocks down on Wall Street today. Dow Jones Industrials dropped 162 points. NASDAQ off 3.5. S&P 500 down about 13. Mike is here. Sports coming up.
Yeah, LaShawn McCoy was talking about Chip Kelly. Are they enemies, friends? What's the deal? And Mike Hopkins looks to get his first home win tonight for the Orange. We'll hear from him. Sports is coming up next. All right, Syracuse basketball team back to the Dome tonight, trying to break a two-game losing streak. They take on Colgate. Mike Hopkins coached the team for the first time Saturday at Georgetown while Jim Boeheim suspended. Orange fell behind and lost to the Hoyas. Hopkins running the show for 8 games while Boeheim's out. And he says they need to keep the faith, keep working, get some wins until Jim Boeheim returns.
There's going to be a lot of great learning lessons, but we're going to get better. The team's going to get better. Coaching staff's going to get better. And you know, hopefully we'll be playing in March. We'll get better, and I'm excited for these next 8 games. And you know, our goal is to get this team better, to give Coach Boeheim on the North Carolina game. I mean, that's what we do.
Yeah, that's when he'd be back. Sunday, the Bills go to Philly to play the Eagles. LaShawn McCoy, traded by Chip Kelly and the Eagles this spring. At the time, McCoy insinuated Kelly's motives for making the deals were based on race. Today, on a Philly radio station, McCoy was asked if he wanted to clarify those comments.
I'm different. You know, I'll speak how I feel, but I really don't want to relive that. I really don't want to go back to that. You know, I said what I said. That is what it is. You know, I have no issue with Chip. No, I don't have no hatred or nothing against him. I mean, we're not best friends. I'm not like that, but I have nothing negative to say about him, or if I see him, I don't have nothing wrong to say. I mean, that's past me. I'm sure it's past him. You know, we're deep in the season. And that's why I'm happy this game is where it is right now.
Yeah, the game comes up on Sunday. Kicker Dan Carpenter struggling, but Rex says he isn't making a change. Now, Carpenter made a change. His long hair, gone. First time in 8 years he cut his hair. He says he donated the hair to charity, and no, he's not superstitious. It has nothing to do with kicking the ball.
Oh, you guys want to see it? Is it that big of a deal?
Well, it's a slow news day.
It's a big deal. Why? I mean, I guess I don't have to. I don't really care. Yeah, it's short. I'm not a model, you guys.
No, he's just the kicker. Tuesday night, time for the UR Medicine Sports Medicine Play of the Week, and it happened in hockey. Schrader on the road Saturday to play Brighton ER HFL. Barron's making a comeback in the second. Kevin Dugan comes across and rips home the shot. Goes top corner. Take another look. Dugan gets the goal, and the UR Medicine Sports Medicine Play of the Week. How about the Buffalo Sabres last night in action, and another tough loss. Just like in the game against Edmonton, they played Vancouver, and they grabbed the early lead. It was Brian Giunta who scored in front here to give the Sabres the lead, but the rest of the game belonged to the home team. Radim Verbata got the hat trick. The Canucks beat the Sabres last night. 5-2 the final in that one. Their next game down comes up Thursday in Calgary, and that is sports.
All right, when we come back, an update on our breaking news, that car in the canal. Also, a bright spot shining on Subarus for the season. And we have a breaking news update. This out of Wayne County, where a car has been pulled out of the Erie Canal. This happened in Palmyra, where Alderman Road meets Route 31. Police telling us a witness spotted the vehicle accelerate into the canal about 4:15 today. A female driver pulled from the car. A small dog also rescued. Some people working nearby with heavy equipment helped move that car to an area so the woman could be pulled out. She was sent to the Newark Wayne Hospital with what we were told are serious injuries. We're told the canal has only about 5 to 10 feet depth of water right there where the car went in. We will update this, of course, on 13wham.com and again at 10 and 11 o'clock tonight. And finally, our bright spot shines on Doyle Subaru and their challenge to stuff a Subaru with pet food. Now, this is part of their holiday season effort to support the local Meals on Wheels program for seniors because, yes, those seniors' pets need food as well. Also, get this, Subaru's donating $250 for each new Subaru leased or sold. The person who buys the car gets to give that $250 to the charity of their choice. A real holiday bright spot. Hey, and one more look at the weather.
Temperatures are going to be dropping into the 30s. A little bit of fog later tonight south of Rochester.
Syracuse home tonight.
All right, and more news coming up with ABC and David Muir next.